And a lot of my colleagues don't even read the bills that they are commenting on. But
it is now time for the weekly wrap up. So this is a segment where I go over stories from the week that I missed. And even though I'm not going to go as deep on any of these issues as I would in a separate video, I still want to discuss them. And I'll link to everything here below the video. So if you want to read more into any of these stories, you can check that out. But let's start here with this story that I enjoyed and I laughed over. Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene's nationwide fundraising tour has been a bust, raising less than $60,000 in 2 months and spending about 4 times that amount. There you go. You want to read more? I will link to it below the video, but that is hilarious. Next story here. Americans' medical debts are bigger than was known, totaling $140 billion. So a new study finds that healthcare has become the country's largest source of debt in collections. Those debts are largest where Medicaid wasn't expanded. Of course, I have discussed this issue countless times. As somebody who experiences universal healthcare, a single-payer system in Canada, I know just how crazy the American healthcare system is. It's one of the main reasons I never really seriously considered moving to the US, even though I had thought about it at times. But I don't want to live in a country where healthcare is not guaranteed to me. And it is completely insane. Medical bankruptcy is the most common form of bankruptcy in the US. It doesn't even exist in other countries that have universal healthcare. Of course, medical debt, even though it may exist in small pockets, like in Canada, pharmacare isn't covered nationally. Dental care isn't covered nationally. So I'm sure in certain cases, people that have serious, dental debt, I'm sure that can be a thing. But nowhere near what it is, of course, in America. And of course, those limitations on the Canadian system are not felt by other countries that have real national health care. And of course, it's an issue with the lack of us needing to expand healthcare further. So the issue, if there's any issue with Canada's healthcare system, is that it doesn't go far enough. Not that it's single payer, is that it doesn't cover as much as it should. But this, of course, is a uniquely American issue. Next here, this has actually been going on for a while, but I want to bring it up here. Alabama coal miners enter 4th month on strike. So I will link to this. You can read more about it here. And also, I want to suggest a follow if you're on Twitter, or even just look up her work. Kim Kelly does fantastic labor reporting. Check her out. Follow her on Twitter. She covered this story as well last month. So I'll link to that again below the video. Next one here. This is a clip that I want to share because it made me laugh. Julian here tweeted this saying, that face when you show up to present a group project and nobody else did the readings. AOC knows what's up. Check out this clip.
I learned a while ago, when I first got to Congress, I thought, man, people definitely study what they're talking about here. Then I got here and I realized that a lot of my colleagues don't even read the bills that they are commenting on. But for anyone who's curious, it's right here at the desk. We're making lots of statements that have nothing to do with the legislation. And frankly, if I made comments that very publicly demonstrated that I didn't read the legislation I was discussing, I'd be embarrassed. But that is an aside.
So this was a discussion about public banking. And Republicans there were claiming that this was a government takeover of banks when it's simply a public option for banking. But imagine what would have happened if it was AOC who got the information wrong and not Republicans. I mean, AOC says one little thing wrong and the media jumps on her. And in some cases, look, yes, she deserves criticism at times, but look at the way the media treats her compared to conservatives who lie all the time, who never read anything they're passing. There's no scrutiny at all on what they do or say. But it's very different when it comes to AOC. And look, this is, I think, one of the few lawmakers who actually care, like Bernie Sanders, actually does the readings, actually wants to help people, also understands limitations, also strategically, I think, gets things wrong sometimes, doesn't understand the power that she has, doesn't use the power the way she can. But that really is my biggest issue with her, is I think she has a lot more power than she realizes and can really work a lot better to try and change the Democratic Party from within. That said, clearly she cares about the issues, cares what cares about helping people. And her support here of public banking is one example of that. Another example, this issue very close to me. AOC has again filed an amendment to remove a federal research barrier in the hopes of promoting research into psychedelics like MDMA and psilocybin. So psilocybin magic mushrooms. This is very important. It is so ridiculous that there is this barrier on research into these psychedelics, considering the studies that have been done on these substances have been very positive. People that have had serious PTSD, whether it's through because of childhood or maybe they're a veteran, they have a experience, a supervised experience, a professional experience with MDMA, psilocybin, or another psychedelic, and they get over that PTSD in one session. So it is incredibly effective. Of course, I do think if we're going to at some point legalize these substances, they should be in controlled circumstances. So I think I think they should be one of the tools that doctors have when it comes to trying to treat people that suffer from anxiety, PTSD, stress. Psychedelics are very effective. I've discussed before, there's a whole video online of my experience with ayahuasca. I went to Peru. I had a week experience with a full week experience in Peru taking ayahuasca. And it helped a lot with my anxiety. I suffered from severe social anxiety. I still have, I'm not, completely over it, but it helped a lot dealing with that anxiety, dealing with stress, giving me sort of a more clear outlook on life. And that's the experience that many people have on psychedelics. And I think it's very important that there's a lot more research done into these substances, as I think it will bring a lot of benefits to people, especially when it comes to stress, anxiety, PTSD, and just in general, opening your mind up and really allowing you to experience life from almost a different, like a third person perspective, where you're able to see your life in a more objective way than you're normally able to. But on these psychedelics, oftentimes you sort of have this out of body experience, in the sense that you really get to view your life as a third party figure as opposed to, you yourself. So it gives you a very different perspective on life and really helps a lot of people in various ways. Last thing here. Recent polling in Canada shows the NDP jumping 6 points while the Conservatives drop 5 points. Look how close this is right now. So Liberals, of course, there's very likely going to be an election called this year, could be next month. So you have here, Liberals are almost certainly going to either keep a minority government or potentially form a majority. But apart from that, going down, if this is going to be a trend, and it could be, looking at who supports the NDP, younger people, that of course their base continues growing because of that. Millennials, Gen Z, much in support of the NDP. Meanwhile, at the same time, conservative support is falling off. Their support largely older, and nature takes hold. Older people die off, younger people get to vote, and you have the NDP support increasing. I think look, we may be seeing at some point in the future, maybe in the next 5 years, the NDP at the very least in the opposition. So I would very much like to see that. And I think Jagmeet Singh, while I have my criticisms, I think he clearly is a step up from Tom Mulcair, the former leader. So really right now, great trend here for the NDP. At the same time, Greene's dropping 3 points. They've had a lot of drama right now around their leader, Annamie Paul, and the fight that she's in with the federal council in the Green Party, and them right now essentially trying to push her out. There's a lot going on there. It's impossible to summarize it all right now, but it's hurting their support. So the Green Party may potentially even lose the few seats that they have. They have 2 right now. They had 3 before Jenica Atwin moved over to the Liberals. So now they have 2 seats, Elizabeth May and Paul Manley. I like both. I like Paul Manley. I like Elizabeth May. I hope they keep their seats. But based on how things are going right now, they may even lose their seats. And Annamie Paul, the leader, still doesn't have a seat, is still trying to run in Toronto Centre, where she has no chance at winning. Right now, a Liberal holds that seat. A Liberal who is famous, used to be on television on a news network. In fact, I think I may have worked with her once. I used to work at CTV News. So she used to work at CTV News. She's now a Liberal MP. So there's no, Annamie Paul has no hope of winning that riding. But anyways, whole different discussion. Point being, NDP looking good, conservatives looking bad, and that makes me happy. So there you go. That is the wrap up for this week.